Greetings, adventurers. We are here today at the Buffalo River Trail. Let's get going. Alright, folks, on the Buffalo River Trail. Last year, I came out here to do this trail, about the same time last year in March. And I hiked one day, and I think I overdid it, or I wasn't taking care of myself. I was exhausted. The next morning, I got up, and I was still exhausted. My body was telling me, nope, I'm not doing it. So I threw in the towel. I went back to Ponca, got my car, and headed home. So I'm back. This time, instead of starting at Boxley like I did last time, I did that whole section. So I started at Ponca, and I hiked from the Ponca Outdoor Center. They rent canoes. They also shuttle cars. It's interesting. Most shuttles, they'll shuttle you to where you want to start, or where they'll drive you to where you want to go. This place is the other way around. They'll shuttle your car. So I dropped my car off over there, and they're gonna drop it off down in Pruitt, which is the other end of the trail, by noon on Monday, they said. So I have 2 days, or 3 days, 2 nights, and honestly, I think this might be the campsite that I stayed at. There might be another one down here, because I thought it was a little further down, but I stayed there, and then I started hiking. I hiked about 1.5 miles or so until I was like, I think it took me like 2 hours to hike 1.5 miles. So I was like, I'm not gonna make it. I need to turn around. I felt like I was taking breaks every 100 yards or so. My body was just exhausted. So we have 25 miles from here till the end, 25.5 miles. And I got 2.5 days to do that. So I can do a 10, and a 5, or something like that. The one thing I am worried about on this hike here is the heat. It's supposed to be 91 today. Which yesterday it was like, I think it got up to 86 or 87. And it was kind of starting to get to me. But I was alright. But it's supposed to be a little hotter today, so I'm gonna have to take it easy. I really enjoy how this part follows the high cliff right next to the river. Great views. I also want to mention, if you don't know about this area, so this is Buffalo National River, scenic river. So this was actually the very first national river in the park system. So a national river is basically a national park. It's just a special designation for a river, but it's same class as a national park. The popular thing, the main thing to do here is to canoe or kayak the river. But just a beautiful area altogether. I've done actually quite a few videos here. Make sure you go check out those videos. I did Boxley to Pruitt, or Boxley to Ponca on the Buffalo River Trail. I also did an exploration here. I did the Goat Trail. The Goat Trail was something else. You should check out that video. That was crazy. Alrighty folks, right here behind me is the Steel Creek campsite, and then there's a boat launch here for the river as well, which looks like what most people are doing. The campsite itself looks fairly empty, but it's early yet. I just stopped and took a 10-minute break. About 4 miles in. It's about 11:30. Starting to get pretty hot. Probably about an hour or so. I'm gonna stop and take a lunch. This here is Steel Creek, the creek that gives the campsite its name. Flows into the Buffalo River just down that way. We're gonna cross Steel Creek right here. There's a lot of these exposed rock ledges with a little trickle of water coming down them. It's kind of cool. There's a whole bunch of them. I just splashed some water on my face and my legs and my arms. Got my hair wet down in Steel Creek. That felt really good. Alright, so you can see Steel Creek landing right there. And the Buffalo River. Alright, folks. So I'm a little over 6.5 miles in. I made it to Beach Creek, which is where I planned on stopping, having lunch, taking a nice long break, maybe dipping in the water to cool off. And I was going to take a nice long break, like a couple-hour break, so I could skip the heat of the day and then finish in the evening. But I got to Beach Creek. There's no creek. There was no water. So I sat there for about 45 minutes, drank some Gatorade. I ate my sandwich, but I'm not doing so good. I'm overheating, I think. It's definitely 90 degrees outside. I had a sandwich. I ate about half of it, and then I got really queasy and I threw it up. And then I ate the other half of the sandwich. I was able to keep that down. But where I need to go from Beach Creek to Kyle's Landing is where I'm hoping to camp tonight. Is the steepest climb of the entire trail. So I've just started climbing up that hill. It's the biggest hill and the steepest. And it's really doing me in. Alright, I found a little spring with some nice cold water flowing out of it. Had a nice little puddle. So I splashed some water on my legs and arms and my face, my hair. I feel like I'm dried off already. But that felt really good. I'm going to try to camp at Kyle's Landing tonight, which is on the Buffalo River. Maybe I can go for a little dip. Alright folks, here's the deal. I think I'm getting heat stroke or heat exhaustion. I can't seem to barely hike anymore. I go hike for like 5 minutes and I need to lay down. I'm like in the middle of the steepest incline of the trip. I got about 3/4 of a mile to the top. There's a campsite on top and a pond. And there's about 20 guys from a church group that are on the top, camping up there. I am texting with my wife on the Garmin. There's her right now. Her messages are coming through, but my messages are taking a really long time to go through. I think I'm going to rest here for a little while until the temperature cools down a little bit, and then I'll start heading back up. Alright, adventurers. I am in camp, in my bed, ready to go to sleep. It's been an adventure, alright. I'll tell you guys about it in the morning. Good morning, adventurers. It's a beautiful morning this morning. It's about, I don't know what time it is, 8:15. Beautiful sunrise this morning in the mountains. So, yesterday, it got up to 93 degrees. I don't remember what I've mentioned yet, but the plan was to stop at Beach Creek for lunch. Grab water, maybe do a little swimming, cool off, spend a few hours there to wait out the heat of the day. I got there like many other people did too, and there's no water. So I just planned on continuing. Indian Creek was coming up in about a mile from here. But continuing was up the steepest and the biggest uphill of the entire trail. And it was in the middle of the heat of the day. It was right about 2:30 when I started heading up. I was getting way overheated. I was going, maybe 100 feet and then taking a break. Those breaks kept starting getting longer and longer until eventually I took like a 1-hour nap on the side of the hill. At which point, one of the other guys that was also struggling kind of caught up to me. Eventually, a couple other people caught up, and there was a group of about 4 or 5 of us that were really having a hard time. We were, our bodies just didn't want to move anymore. Basically, just getting heat exhaustion. My wife was following me on my Garmin, and she was messaging me that she was very worried because she saw I was moving very slowly. Until the point where I took that 1-hour nap. And then she said something like, you've only moved 300 feet in 30 minutes. So she called the park rangers. one park ranger ended up coming here. So then after that, I ended up making it to this campsite here at the top of the bluff or the mountain. Set up camp and rested. The park ranger did end up showing up. He just assessed me, took my pulse, and gave me a bottle of water. And he gave me two options. He said I can either just rest, which he thought was probably the best idea, was just to lay down and rest. There's 2 miles to hike out down to Kyle's Landing. The other option was I could have grabbed my pack. He probably would have carried it for me. But I could have walked about 1.5 miles out through the low gap ATV trail. I did not feel like walking at all. I was pooped. So I took the option of resting for the night, which I did. I got up, I had some oatmeal for breakfast and some apple cider. I drank 2 whole packets of apple cider. It was pretty good. I feel like I might still be a little dehydrated. My mouth is really dry. But I'm drinking water. Then this morning, so the people that I met were all from a church group. There's a church group of about 20, 25 people. Some of the people that weren't doing very good stopped at this camp with me and camped out. Some of the others continued on to Kyle's Landing. But this morning when I ate breakfast, a couple of the guys hiked back up here from Kyle's Landing with some extra water and stuff like that. And a couple of the other guys are going to carry their pack down for them. But we have 2 miles to Kyle's Landing. It's all downhill. I talked to this church group and they have agreed to give me a ride back to Ponca where their car is, so they're going to be shuttling back there anyway. So I'm going to get a ride back to my car. And then they also invited me, they're going to a local cafe for breakfast. So I think I'm going to join them for that. I was flattered at the invitation. I think I'm going to take them up on that. It's going to be great. And I'm going to have to come back another time. It's kind of a bummer that I failed, but I don't feel like hiking again anymore. Oh, I'm doing all right, but I'm just kind of worn out from yesterday. I'm all packed up, ready to head out. Alright folks, made it back to Ponca, into my car. Whew. My car says it's 90 degrees already, and it's 12:30. So, I'm glad I threw in the towel. I cannot handle this heat. I came down here thinking it was going to be cool. But I thank God for that church group. They saved me. They did more than save me. They helped me out. They brought me to breakfast. And honestly, I still don't feel very good. It might take a day or two to recover. Oh, I got to eat some food. I didn't eat very much. My stomach is super nauseous, and I don't feel like eating. I ate a salad, and then I tried eating some meat, I think it was pot roast, and some mashed potatoes. But it was really hard to get down. I did throw up a couple times this morning before we went to eat. So I'm definitely still feeling it. I'm still exhausted. I'm drinking water. I'm kind of switching back and forth between electrolytes and just plain water. This trail is tough. So I thought maybe it was just me having a hard time, because that happens sometimes. But it was not me. There were several other people that were really struggling like me. Throwing up, overheating. Today was supposed to be pretty much the same as yesterday, so I wouldn't have made it. And I had this church group here that kept me company. They gave me these energy gummies that were really good. They gave me extra water. They helped me out. They stayed with me to make sure that I was okay. But this trail's tough. So this is the second time now I've had to ditch my plans. And I also have it's Sunday today. I still have until Wednesday. I was planning on finishing this on Monday, and then I was planning on doing a couple other day hikes, either in this area or up in Branson, southern Missouri. But at this point, I feel like I might just drive home from here. I don't know. I might find a place to sleep later tonight, and maybe if I feel better in the morning, I'll do another hike or something, but I think I just want to go home. Last year I came out here and the temperature was in the 40s, 50s. I think I got up to 70 that one day, but yeah, that felt nice. This was just unbearable. Combined with a lot of the creeks not having water. Indian Creek was bone dry. Beach Creek was bone dry. But I made it. Just be aware that there are some pretty steep inclines on this trail between Ponca and Kyle's Landing. There are some pretty serious inclines. Thank you all for joining me, and I'll see you next week right here on Happy Trail Backpacking.